All today. And I just want to say I had the privilege of meeting with Leonard on a Zoom not so long ago, and you really are in for a treat. I love the title of this Zoom call, Being Christ's Presence, and I can assure you that you will see that in Leonard. So, Leonard, welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thanks for having me.
And I want to begin with kind of a general question of just so that everybody gets to know you a little bit better. But can you just give us a snapshot of your why journey? And, where did you see God tug at your heart during that why journey story? So could you go ahead and just share with us a little more about that?
Sure thing. It's quite funny that I almost missed an opportunity to work with the YMCA. My first encounter with my first Y CEO was when I worked for a different organization, the United Way, and we occupied the second floor of their metro building. That was in Tampa, Florida. And he asked if I would be interested in working for the YMCA, and I quickly told him no. I'm good. No thanks. About a year later, I began to feel a call to move from my current role then. And I asked him if that opportunity was still available, still open. And so he played hard to get, but he finally saw it my way and allowed me to join the Y team in Tampa as a senior program director. And I began starting with youth sports and team development, which was an incredible opportunity to minister and to learn about what all the Y does. And so that began my Y journey. And quite frankly, it was a good ride, learning that people actually get paid to do this kind of work. I thought somebody might have missed something. So I didn't say anything. I just kept working and kept growing. But what attracted me was the mission of the YMCA. The fact that it's been longstanding for all these years, and a chance to actually pray at the Y and Bible studies and talk about Christ, that was quite appealing. And so early on, I didn't really wasn't really involved in that part of the Y, but that was always the part that attracted me to be in the movement. And so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So then after Tampa, where did you go then?
So Tampa, after that experience, my second Y assignment took me back home to Lakeland, Florida. Had an opportunity to work there. And all the while I had been, being a part of the church all my life. I would teach, Bible study and do those kinds of things. And but that second Y experience is when I felt a tap on my shoulder. And I ran as fast as I could. God was calling me to do a little bit more than what I was doing.
Whoa, like
And
what?
so I felt a call to ministry. I felt a call to really do more than just lead Bible study.
Hmm.
And so, I had not quite a come apart, but it was really overwhelming, daunting that I would be called to do something more than what I'd been used to. And so I fought it for quite some time. And God, as He would have it, allowed me to meet a pastor there. And so he began to pour in my life, and I began to share with him all of my feelings and the call that I thought I had on me. And so he helped me. He walked with me through that process. And so I finally acquiesced and I yielded. And that's when a peace came over me, because I didn't have a peace before that time. And so I decided to enter into seminary, at least to get educated and find out what this was all about. And so that's how I began my journey towards ministry.
Okay. And you described it when we spoke that your journey in the Y was like a zigzag. Tell us more about that. Like we always
Absolutely.
want this straight, everything works right, everything goes right, but it doesn't always, right?
It doesn't. It doesn't. You know, we've all heard it said that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And I was naive and thought that was the same for the YMCA. With a career path and a certain goal and certain objectives, not so much. Truly, life has been a zigzag.
Hmm.
Looking back now on all of those experiences has led me to this point in time to be in Montgomery.
Mm.
I do to serve as the staff lead for Christian emphasis. It's a result of all of those experiences that I had previously. So some are more challenging than others, but
Yeah.
I can see God's hand in every scenario to lead me to this point in time today.
Wow, Leonard. And you said too that there was a season where you left the Y. Describe that.
I did. My second Y experience. Sometimes leadership and you don't see things eye to eye, and so I thought it best to leave the Y to pursue other opportunities
Mm-hmm.
to preserve some dignity and to just to leave in a good space. And
Yes.
I was outside of the Y for about 2 years.
Yeah.
I fell back on my undergraduate work, which is in social work, and so I did some school social work for a couple of years. And that was a weird place, Nancy, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Being a part of the Y for so long and being used to the culture, being outside of that was a strange place. But although it was quiet, that's when God spoke the loudest. And so I got a chance to hear from him, and it allowed me to heal. It allowed me to refocus. And so that time was warranted and part of the plan.
Leonard, I can't imagine that others on this call haven't experienced something similar to that. And just so encouraging just to hear your heart on that and to know that you were 2 years outside the Y, but then you came back. So that's so cool. I want to talk to you just about this concept that we all have in the Y. We tend to get so busy. You know, we're notorious as staff people to be extremely busy. And how did you, in your Y career, learn to prioritize your home, your family with your busy career? I think that's something we all want to learn.
Wow, great question. I think I came to grips with the fact that a career in the YMCA, there's really no such thing as work-life balance. And that's just something that I've adopted. So I learned to incorporate my family and my time uniquely to and realize that the Y is a lifestyle. I'm blessed to have the wife that I have, because she understands that the job that I do at the Y, it's not just a job, but it's also ministry. But I try to include them as much as I can, whether it's volunteering for a 5K run at the YMCA. Matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, we had one here. And so she was with me on the corner handing out water to the runners running, passing by. And so really understanding that you don't have to do this work alone. I had to really embrace the fact that, you know, the family is an integral part for me, this work. And so because they understand that, it works. It works.
Yeah. How do you deal with saying no sometimes? Like, how does that work for you? You know, because it's a job. I mean, do we always have to say yes?
It is, it's been a process, Nancy, learning that no is not a dirty word. Also knowing that and understanding that the Y at times can move and function without me. I don't have to be a superhero. Us who can do the work, who know how to do the work. And so you build a strong team.
Yes.
You find yourself with good people that you trust. You build rapport and you build that relationship. And so all those things working together allows you to have that level of comfort where you can
Mm-hmm.
Back at times, it's okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I really do. And you gave a quote to me. You shared it, and you said, um, the first ministry is your family, and if you fail with family, you fail in ministry.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Uh, the the gentleman that helped guide me through this process, whom I refer to as my father in the gospel, who ordained me to ministry. Um, he sat me down and he said, above all else, your family is most important. And your family is your first ministry. And so if you fail at family, you fail at ministry. It makes no sense to cross the finish line and your family's not with you.
Mm,
I
mm,
embrace that and have worked very hard. Now, there have been those challenging times, I'm sure most can relate.
mm.
Call the house and say, hon, I'll be home in about an hour. She's always learned to add another hour to that. I mean, that's kind of the Y world, right? The Y life, where 1 hour turns to 2 or 3. And so again, I've been very blessed to have a gracious family, but making sure that I never take that for granted. And
Mhm.
when I do spend time, making sure quality time and appreciating my family for who they are. And so they're my first ministry. And so yeah, if you fail at family, you will fail at ministry. Absolutely.
That's something to hold on to for sure. Thank you for sharing that. I think we all need that encouragement. Your role now, Leonard, God has been preparing you all along for such a time as this. And you see so many opportunities to minister, to take your pastor skills as well as just what you do in the Y during the pandemic and during this new season that we're in now. Tell us more about that. Like, how do you mix those together?
Well, if I could back up just a moment, Nancy, there was a time in my Y career when I felt being called to ministry that I felt that I had to make a choice, whether to work in the four walls of a church or
Mm,
in my Y career. And there was a church planner who would visit my second Y career in Lakeland, Florida. He would come every now and again because he was always off planning churches across the country. And sat down and had a chat with him one day, and I shared with him my dilemma. He said, dude, look around you. You see all these members coming in and out of the YMCA? You have opportunity right here to serve. Why would you want to give that up? And so it's then when I learned that I didn't have to make a choice. I could do ministry right where I was in the Y, and minister and pastor right there. And so that
wow.
opened the world for me.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that. And
Mhm.
so, how do you see that today? Like, what's going on today in your world where you see those combinations? You see the ability to do that?
So when I joined the Montgomery Y, uh, part of my responsibility coming in was leading Christian emphasis.
Hmm.
Uh, there was no manual or no guide per se. We, of course, really big on the C in Montgomery, which I'm ecstatic about. And so very blessed to have a CEO who has kind of given me a platform to do this work and to come alongside some great colleagues to do this work. And so when the pandemic hit, I think that's when the opportunity for me to really address Christian emphasis really came to be. And so just we had adopted this motto, faith over fear, because everyone was having to come apart. We had no major knowledge and understanding of the pandemic. It was just rampant and out of control. And so it was a weird time. Ys were closing and members leaving. And so
Hmm.
we began by launching videos to our staff and members to share with them, we have to have faith over fear. Truly, we can't understand what's going on. God is still in control. God is still sitting on the throne. And so that's where we found our solace. And I had the opportunity to lead that effort with some great people here in Montgomery. And so that allowed us to move forward, and we continued with that theme. We continued to share via Zoom messages that were positive and that allowed us to anchor ourselves. And so from that, we begin to expand ways to communicate the C in the YMCA. And so, but I think the biggest thing, Nancy, is that time period allowed me to really understand empathy, completely different than sympathy.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to relate to folks if you've never walked in their shoes, right? You can sympathize, you can only imagine what people go through. But when you experience what they've experienced, it really allows you to have a greater connection with people.
Mm.
And so going back to that comment about life being a zigzag, God doesn't waste an experience. And so when you draw from those past experiences, it allows you to minister from a place you can truly relate and empathize. And I think it goes beyond lip service. It goes beyond speaking words. It really comes from a place that's heartfelt. So now, as I look back, all of those challenges, all of those hiccups, understanding that there's purpose in our pain, really brings to light the ability to minister from a better place.
Oh, Leonard, that is so good, because I know every person on this call has gone through their own share of sufferings, and to be able to turn that around and to see that as an opportunity that we can empathize and really step into someone else's shoes, that is so powerful. Thank you. I want to speak to something because I saw it in your life, throughout your life, that, different people, but you do have heroes. And I would love for you to share, who is your hero?
My number one hero, he was also, I was his number one fan, I believe. Pop, my father. We lost him in 2015. But this man was a gentle giant, big in stature, soft-spoken. But when he spoke, you like E.F. Hutton, you paid attention, right? He very strong in my life and helped me really formulate my faith. As far as I can remember, we attended church, and Dad was old school. Dad was the superintendent of Sunday school. He was the guy who made sure that we got all the rolls from all the different classes, and the offering was kind of just right, and he'd make all the announcements. And so those images and us going to church every Sunday really helped me with my foundation today. Just, learn behavior, just watching him. He would handle situations. He would just be gracious to people, very giving. Talk about being empathetic. He was truly a champion when it came to that. And so, yeah, Pop, my number one hero. But yeah.
Didn't he help you in a time just to learn how to respond to harsh and challenging words? Speak to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So where I grew up was very challenging place, racially tense, very discriminatory. And Pop broke a lot of glass ceilings. He was the first African-American principal of a high school in my hometown. That was a big deal. But growing up, seeing him in different scenarios, I remember one incident where we were in a meat market, and we were the only ones there. Another gentleman came in, and the manager there quickly dismissed us. to serve the other person. And so I saw my father, very patient man, dealt with that issue with grace. And he taught me that to always think first and without responding. He always taught me to be a model in terms of helping people and educating people who you are based on what you do and the things you say. And so really, I didn't understand a lot then, but again, very impressionable. And so I guess I'm my father's son. You know, I try to be quick to listen and slow to speak. And so, yeah, he was truly a champion when it came to helping you learn how to negotiate those challenging times, despite the issue, beyond and have grace and mercy.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
It's so obvious in your life. It really is. So
Thanks, Nancy.
thank you. We have just a few more moments, and I just want to ask this question because I just so believe in us being able to mentor others as well as to have mentors in our life. Who who's mentored you? And then are you doing that now as well?
Absolutely.
I'm sure you are.
Absolutely. Certainly, as it pertains to ministry, his name is Pastor Linnell Pickett, who taught me about family and the importance of service. And so he was an integral part. And even today, we still pick up the phone and we talk and connect. And so now, fast forward, I have men in my life to try to help keep me accountable, to stay focused. And so we have that type of relationship. And so I too try to do the same. I've heard it said that we should have a Paul, a Barnabas, and a Timothy in our lives. A Paul to help cut it straight, to tell you exactly what you need to hear. A Barnabas to encourage us. Yeah. Those times that we need encouragement. And a Timothy to pour our lives into. Wow. Yeah. And so as best I can, I try to do that. And certainly I need the same. So yeah. Wow, Leonard, that's great. I will remember that one, a Paul, a Barnabas, and a Timothy. That is so cool. And, I just want to thank you for sharing your life with us today, Leonard. I mean, we just got a snippet of your life, but it's so beautiful to just see how God has just woven in your zigzag, just so much of his presence and so much of his light and grace and mercy. It's so obvious, and just bless you. And so thank you so much for being a part of our call today. And I'll turn this back to Angie. Thanks, Nancy. Thank you.
Nancy, thank you for conducting that interview. And Leonard, I have 2.5 pages of notes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow is right. Just some really great nuggets. Thank you.